Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Tara DiStefano with the Highway Safety Network. I'm the Community Traffic Safety Project Coordinator in Berks County. And if you've been joining us the past couple of weeks, you know we are in the midst of our traffic safety series. We are over halfway through. It's a 6-week series. This week we are doing traffic safety topic number 4. And I want to thank you again for joining me. I hope you had a great holiday. I know we took last week off with the Thanksgiving holiday, but we are going to jump back in with our traffic safety topics. Like I mentioned, I'm Tara DiStefano at the Highway Safety Network. You can reach out to me on social media if you would like, if you're enjoying these topics or you have any questions. On social media, you can find me on Facebook, it's Traffic Safety Tara, and on Instagram, it's Tara's Traffic Safety. I would love to hear from you. Let me know if you like what we're talking about or if you have any questions. So like I'd mentioned, we are over halfway through, and this week we are talking about winter driving. And it comes not too soon because I saw some snowflakes this week. So it is time with turning the calendar from November to December. Now we are in meteorological winter, so we do have to be prepared for winter driving. So again, thank you for joining me, and we're going to get started. So, like I mentioned, we are talking winter driving safety. And I know sometimes winter driving can be very scary, tumultuous, anxiety-ridden. So we're going to talk about some things, and hopefully I can help maybe, take some of that anxiety out of your winter driving. So when it comes to winter driving, we have the 3 Ps. We need to prepare for our winter driving, we need to protect, and we need to prevent. So we're going to go through this and talk about our 3 Ps. So for preparing, you want to prepare your car. So that means that you need to check your vehicle to make sure it is in proper working order before you even hit the road. Nothing could ruin your trip as if you are stopped in the middle of it because your car is broken down. So you need to prepare your car. You need to prepare for your trip, and you need to plan your route. Now, when I say you need to prepare for your trip, that means you need to have some items packed and ready to go that you typically may not have in the summer months. So we will talk about some of those items you need in your winter emergency kit, and plan your route. If you know there is snow in the forecast, some routes may not be the best decision. So you need to plan ahead so you don't take a route that you will get stuck on. So preparing your car for winter. Are your wipers in good working order? So if you're driving along and you can't see out your windshield, that could be a disaster. That could end up in a crash. I mean, seriously, you need to be able to see out that windshield. So you need good working order wipers. Smudging wipers, wipers that don't even clear, that's not acceptable. So get some good wipers. Your windshield washer fluid. So even if your wipers are working, if you don't have something to clear off your windshield, like that washer fluid, those wipers aren't going to help. Antifreeze. So I found out a couple of years ago that your antifreeze, actually, your coolant, affects your heating and cooling system. So if you do not have the sufficient amount of coolant in your vehicle, you may not be getting heat in your car. So you need to check your antifreeze. But I suggest checking all fluids before you go. Your battery and belts. Nothing would be worse than if you are somewhere and your car won't start and you're stuck in the cold. So you want to make sure your battery's good, those belts are good, your car's in good working order. You may want to replace your oil, your regular oil, with winter grade oil. I don't usually do that. My mechanic puts really good oil in from the get-go, but maybe it's something that you want to think about and talk to your mechanic about. And your tires. So you need to check your tires' tread. You need to check the air pressure in your tires. And if it's not sufficient, it's time to replace those tires. You need good traction and good tread on snow-covered or icy roads. It's really important to have good tires. You also want to pack a winter car kit. Like I had said before, you need to prepare your car, you need to protect, you need to So this is something that you need to prepare for that we don't typically have to do in the summer. So we need to pack a winter car kit because if you get stranded, you want to have some items with you to help you. So here's some of the items. You want to definitely have your snow brush and scraper. You don't know that we could, we live in Pennsylvania. We could easily get a snow squall come through, get an inch or two here or there, and it's going to cover your car. You need to be able to clean that car out very easily. The scraper, we've had a couple cold mornings now where the scraper was needed to get that ice off your windshield. A blanket. I suggest maybe 1 or 2 extra blankets in there. I keep a blanket in my car all year long, just in case. You never know when you'd need it. I use it to sit on at sporting events, or if something would happen and you get stuck in a rainstorm, you need a towel. A blanket's second best thing. But you may want to add some extra blankets because if you're traveling with other people, you want to be able to have enough for everybody. Mittens, socks, and hat. So you want to have some extra warm clothing. You may not always have gloves or mittens in your coat, but you want to have them in your car just in case. If your car would get stuck or you get stranded and you'd have to walk and you don't typically carry that stuff on your person, it's good to have it with you so you can cover those digits. You want to cover your hands. You want to protect them from frostbite. A small shovel. So this would come into play if you were stuck in the snow and you need to dig your car out. You need that small shovel. Sand or kitty litter, and that is for traction. If you get stuck on ice or in snow, you could throw that down to give your wheels some traction. Jumper cables. Again, in the winter you just don't know. You want to make sure that you want to be able to start your car. And I carry an emergency car kit in my car, so it has the flares and it has the reflective material. So God forbid I would get stuck on the side of the road, I would have something to warn passing cars that I'm there. So you want to have an emergency car kit. And windshield washer fluid's great to have with you too, because if you are traveling and you're using it a lot, you may have to refill. So have that windshield washer fluid in your car. Some other things that are not on this list here are items that are specific to your needs. So I suggest everybody carry some water bottles in their car and some non-perishable food items. Maybe some fruit snacks or some granola bars, something that has a really long expiration date, but it's non-perishable, that if you are stuck somewhere, you do have a snack. Also, if you take medication, I suggest packing some extra medication in your car just in case you would be stranded and you need your medication. Parents, you may want to pack some extra diapers and some formula if you have a small child and they need diapers or formula. So that's something you want to think about. Again, some things that are specific to your situation. If you travel with your pet, you may want to think about packing some extra pet food just in case. It's good to have too many things, but it's not good to not have what you need at the time. So it's really important that we prepare ahead of time. So when you're getting ready to go, we want to make sure that we warm up our car and idle our engine. We don't want to race our engine. You don't want to stick it in neutral and really rev that engine. And like I mentioned earlier, you want to have your brush and scraper so you can clear off your car completely. You want to make sure that you clear off your windshield, your back window, your side windows, your mirrors, the top of your vehicle. You need to have that car completely cleared off. And again, especially when we know that the snow's in the forecast, make sure that you give yourself enough time. I know there's people that typically run late for work every single day. Well, that comes back to our preparing. Make sure that night before that you set your alarm maybe 20 minutes earlier, get yourself out of bed, get yourself ready, and get that car cleared off and warmed up so you're ready to go and you don't have to rush. And again, you must clear off all that snow from your vehicle, because if that snow would fall off and hit, say, a pedestrian or another car, it is a citable offense. So you can get fined for that snow coming off your vehicle. I know we've all seen that person driving down the road, their whole windshield is covered and they have that one little porthole that they can look out. That's not acceptable. Or the ones where they're driving and their windshield's completely cleared off, but they have a foot of snow on the top of their car. That's not good either. But once the car warms up and they hit the brakes, that snow is going to come flying forward and cover your windshield. So again, you must clear off all aspects of your car. You have to clear off the top, all windows, all mirrors. You also must clear off your lights. You want to make sure that you can be seen. So you want to be able to have those lights seen. So that includes front and back lights. You want to make sure that you protect yourself. So what's the best thing that you can do for yourself when you get in a vehicle any time of year? Buckling up. By buckling up, you increase your chances of surviving a crash by like 60%. So it's so important that we buckle our seatbelt. We also want to make sure that we never put a child in a car seat in front of an airbag. So that's not acceptable. The infant seats, the car seat should all be in the back seat, not in front of active airbags. Children 12 and under need to stay in the back seat. That's the recommendation. So we want all kids, even if they are big, they still need to be in the back seat until they're 13 years old. Their bodies aren't developed enough, and in the event of a crash, they may not be tall enough, and an airbag deploying in the front seat could seriously injure or kill a small child. And down the bottom there, under 18, seatbelt's a primary law. So that means anybody under the age of 18, anywhere in the car, by law, must be belted. If you have someone under the age of 18 in your vehicle and they are not in a seatbelt, your car can get pulled over for that person not being in a seatbelt. And it doesn't matter where they're sitting. They could be in the front passenger seat or they can be back in the third row. So it doesn't matter. You can get pulled over for that minor not being seatbelted in. So we want to make sure that we prevent crashes. Like I had mentioned earlier, this is one of our P's. We want to prepare, we want to protect, now we want to prevent. We don't want to mix drugs and alcohol when we're driving. Especially this time of year, we're getting into holiday season. There's a lot of holiday parties. I don't know if people are going to be having them this year with COVID, but I'm sure there will be some events going on, and we want to make sure that we don't drive while we are impaired. So you have to prevent this by planning ahead. And you want to make sure that you have a sober ride home, be it calling it, getting an Uber or a taxi or a sober friend, or maybe you go somewhere close enough that you can walk home. So it's just important that we don't get behind the wheel while we are impaired. You want to make sure that you slow down, especially in winter driving conditions. It takes a lot longer to stop in snow-covered road conditions or icy road conditions. So you need to slow down and give yourself that time to stop. You need to also increase the distance between cars because of that increased stopping time. I have avoid fatigue there. A drowsy driver is like an impaired driver. Being a drowsy driver is like having a couple of drinks and getting behind the wheel. So you don't want to be that fatigued, drowsy driver. And again, watch out for pedestrians. We don't really have a healthy respect of pedestrians here in Pennsylvania, and we need to really step up our game and watch out for our pedestrians and make sure that we obey the pedestrian laws. If they're crossing the street at crosswalks, we need to stop for those pedestrians. So some things to consider when you are thinking about driving in winter conditions. Is your car equipped for the weather? I mean, did you check those tires? Do you know? Are they bald? Do they have enough tread? Do they have enough air? Are you ready to go? Can you see out your windshield? Are your wipers good? Do you have enough windshield washer fluid? Are you ready for the winter? Do you have enough coolant in your car? Is your heat working? Can you make the trip later? That's something to consider. I mean, sometimes the best decision for safe driving is to not drive at all. Is it necessary? Maybe it's just a matter of, I want to go to the store and pick something up, but I really don't need it. So can you wait until, the storm has passed and the roads are clear? It's a little bit safer to drive. You also need to think about the safest route. I had mentioned this earlier. Sometimes, the quickest route may not be the safest route. You may want to take main roads, but they're a little bit out of the way. We know that the state clears the roads pretty well, and the main roads get a lot of attention, but our back roads and our side roads don't always get that attention. So maybe going out of your way to a main road is the better route. And again, are you prepared in an emergency? Do you have that emergency kit packed? Do you have the items in your car that you would need in the event that you would get stuck? A couple of years back, we had a major snow squall in Schuylkill County, which is where I'm from, on Interstate 81. And it was a March snow squall. It was a beautiful sunny day, and out of nowhere, the snow squall came through and blinded everybody. We had a 30+ car pileup, and that resulted in the highway being shut down for hours. I mean, it was a mess. I'm sure some of you may remember it, but it was a mess. And if you did not have that emergency kit packed in your car, you could have been stuck on that highway for hours without any water or snacks or your medication or diapers for your baby or food for your pets. So some things to think about. You know, you may think, well, I'm not really going that far, but having that emergency kit could provide you with those items that you need in the event that you get stuck, you know, in an unanticipated scenario, such as a snow squall, major pileup that shuts down a major highway for hours. Now, we can't talk about winter driving and skip talking about black ice. So even if it's not snowing, you can still have black ice. You know, we have these mornings, especially in the fall and early winter like it is now, where you have some cooler mornings, some cooler nights, and it looks like it could be a wet road, but really it is a nice little sheet of ice on the road that you weren't expecting. And these typically tend to happen in bridges and over and underpasses, and also in shaded areas. So, you know, here in Pennsylvania, we have a lot of these beautiful tree-lined roads, these country roads, and in Berks County especially. But on those roads, if it's covered by trees, if we had, you know, maybe had a little bit of rain the night before and then it froze, it could look like it's wet, but it could actually be a nice slick sheet of ice. So when you have black ice, you have to remember that you have to slow down, and there's a chance you could slide or skid on that ice. And skidding, it's a result of unexpected forces. So there it is, number one on the list, black ice. Black ice causes skidding. Another reason why you would skid is you're driving too fast for the conditions. Yeah, you're driving too fast for the conditions. Your wheels are going, but they're not getting the traction they need. So the wheels are spinning on that ice, and that's going to cause a skid. Sudden steering corrections or braking. So that means if you take your steering wheel and you turn it severely to the right or left, that could cause skidding also. That could actually cause you to spin. If you brake suddenly, that could easily cause a skid. And again, if you hit the gas too quickly, if you accelerate too quickly, that could cause a skid. We're going to watch a quick video here about skidding and how to correct those skids.
60-second smart skill, correcting a skid. Skidding can happen when there isn't enough friction between your tires and the road. It's something more likely to happen when driving in rainy, icy, or snowy conditions. Having good tires is important. Check your tire pressure using your owner's manual or the tire placard on your vehicle's door to find the correct PSI. You can check the tread wear by using a tread depth gauge. If your treads are at 4/32 of an inch or less, it can reduce your stopping capability in wet conditions. Slow down and drive at a steady pace. Don't make sudden moves with steering, braking, or acceleration. Keep both hands on the wheel and maintain a safe distance from other vehicles. If you do skid or fishtail, don't brake. Take your foot off the accelerator and focus on regaining control with a gentle correction. Remember, always steer into the skid. If you fishtail to the right, gently turn the wheel to the right. If you fishtail left, gently turn to the left. But don't turn the wheel too far. It could cause your car to fishtail in the opposite direction. Stay in control and drive safely. It's what you do. Geico.
So what could you do for your winter driving techniques? Like I had mentioned earlier, you need to drive at a lower speed. You need to slow down so you can stop quicker. You don't have that ability to stop as easily as you do on a dry, sunny, warm summer day road. You can also put your turn signals on sooner so you can warn other drivers that you are going to be stopping or slowing down. So they have that ample amount of time to start slowing down themselves. Again, You need more time to slow down, so do the other drivers. So you got to give them a warning. Pump your brakes. So what that means is you want to just tap your brakes so the other drivers see those brake lights come on. So they have an idea that you are planning on stopping or slowing down. You're giving them a warning, really, that they need to be aware that you are slowing down, so they need to slow down. And you need to increase your following time. So typically we should be following another car by roughly 4 seconds. In winter conditions or poor conditions, we want to follow a car by about 12 seconds. So how do we determine that? You want to pick something on either the side of the road or a mark on the road. Say like maybe a telephone pole. And when that car passes that telephone pole, you will count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, and so on. When you pass that same mark, if you are closer than 12 1,000s to that person, you need to back off. Typically, we want to give 4 seconds in between, but in winter or even rainy conditions, in conditions where you need a longer stopping time, you want to give more distance in between vehicles. So you want to make sure that you have those extra seconds in between. This one's a good one here. This one is my pet peeve law in Pennsylvania. Your wipers are on, your headlights need to be on. That is a law in Pennsylvania. So even in snow, if your wipers are on to clear that snow off your car, your headlights need to be on. And this isn't about you being able to see. This is about other cars seeing your car. It's about, that person coming towards you on the road being able to see your vehicle. So it's really important that those headlights are on if your wipers are on. And I'm not just talking daytime running lights. You can't just say, well, I have daytime running lights and people can see my car. You need to turn your headlights on. You need to, if your car does it for you, typically like in the nighttime, in the dark, the car turns the lights on for you. You need to make sure that you know how to turn your lights on in the daytime so that when you turn them on, not only are your front headlights on, but also your rear tail lights. In poor conditions, it's really important that a car coming up behind you can see those tail lights so they know that there's a car there. And this also applies to rain. So if your wipers are on, your headlights must be on, and it applies to foggy conditions. So it's really important that those lights are on when you are traveling in fog. And I talk about carbon monoxide poisoning because if you are in a car that gets stuck, I used the example of the snow squall a couple of years ago, but say you're on a highway and you're stopped and it's snowing and your car gets stuck. If that snow covers your exhaust pipe, that exhaust is going to come back into your vehicle. So it's really important that if you are stuck in your car, that you crack a window. You don't ever want to sit in your car with it running with the windows completely up if there's a possibility that that exhaust pipe is covered. Also, I know it's cold in the winter. We like to warm our vehicles up. We don't want to do that in a closed garage. So if you are going to warm your car up in the garage, you need to open that garage door so that carbon monoxide can go out. You don't want that exhaust coming back into your garage or into your vehicle. And just, there's some of the signs of it. A headache, nausea, dizziness, breathlessness, collapse, loss of consciousness. I mean, it happens very suddenly, and there are many sad stories associated with carbon monoxide poisoning. So it's really important that we are aware of it and we do our part to prevent it. Your braking system. Brakes are very important all times of year, but it's something that you need to know about, especially when you are driving on icy or snowy covered roads. What kind of braking system do you have and how do you use that braking system? People that went from regular brakes to anti-lock brakes, they find that there is a difference the way that they behave. For your regular brakes, you need to pump those brakes to make an emergency stop. You don't want to slam them on or you're going to lock your brakes. For anti-lock brakes, they are exactly what they say they are. They don't lock. So you will press down and hold those brakes down and they will do the pumping for you. They will slow you down by pressing them and pumping them, and they don't lock. You need to know what kind of drive system you have in your car. Just because it's the winter, now's not the time to start thinking about it, but maybe it is. Maybe you didn't realize what kind of drive system you have. Some people don't think about this stuff. I went from a front wheel drive vehicle to a rear wheel drive vehicle with 4-wheel drive. So it's something to make sure that you understand how to use and how it works. You know, our front wheel drive vehicles will pull us, our rear wheel drive vehicles push us. You can absolutely feel the difference between the two systems. It's very important that we know how they work and that they do feel different. But again, like our skid video showed us, you want to, if you are in a skid, whatever direction you are skidding, you want to turn that steering wheel towards that skid to try to regain control. So if your back wheels are going, say, to your right side, you want to turn that steering wheel to the right. And again, winter driving, we're going to see plows on the road. So it's really important that we don't crowd the plow. We want to give them their space to do their jobs. We don't want to pass a plow. That's very dangerous. Honestly, being behind a plow where they are clearing the road for us and laying down some salt or some cinders, that's the best place to be. But you want to make sure that you are staying many, many car lengths behind the plows. You don't want to be right on top of that plow. And as you can see in the picture here, this plow in the front here has the extra wing blades out to the side, and that's why you don't want to pass that plow. You may not be able to see that, especially if it's a really bad snowstorm or there's a lot of snow and the snow's kicking up and you can't see those extra wing blades out to the side. If you go to pass it, you could easily hit that plow. And now the road's not going to be getting cleared, and now there's an emergency event on the road. We have to bring out first responders and shut that road down. So you don't want to make yourself a problem on the road. So stay behind that plow. Let them do their jobs. We always see that person that's in that big hurry passing the plow, and it's just not safe. Again, the back behind the plow is the safest place. I mean, they're clearing the road for you. They're making it as safe as possible. So, what are our takeaways today? You want to make sure that if you must travel in snowy or icy conditions, to give yourself extra time for that travel. Don't get up late for work and expect to make your typical commute time. You want to give yourself more space in between vehicles. You don't want to be tailgating that car in front of you. You must turn your lights on. Again, if your wipers are on, your headlights must be on. Wear your seatbelt. Best thing you can do to help yourself survive a crash. And look ahead and anticipate problems. So keep those eyes up. Don't be a distracted driver. Really look ahead of when you're in the car, and think about, look ahead as you're driving, and look ahead before you even get in the car and anticipate the problems. And just a couple extra tips. So if your car would get stuck, this is where that kitty litter would come into play, or the sand, whatever, you get some play sand at the store. But if you don't have any kind of, gritty, sandy, kitty litter type materials, you could also use your floor mats. So if you get stuck in a situation and you are in a pinch, you take those floor mats out of your car, put them under your tires, get yourself unstuck, get out, pick your floor mats up, and go on your way. You could use Ziploc bags to cover your mirrors so they don't get iced over. I have a thing called a frost guard, and it actually goes over my windshield, but they also sell them that they look like, and I always call them little mittens, but they look like little mittens that go on your mirrors. So that can help your mirrors. So if you don't have the heated mirrors, that can help your mirrors not get frosted over, and the frost guard helps your windshield not get frosted over. And I like the frost guard for my windshield because it helps with the windshield wipers. I don't know if you've ever noticed. Now, a lot of people will, when they know there's snow or ice coming, they take their windshield wipers and they stand them up. I don't like to do that. I like to put my frost guard over and completely cover my wipers. So then I just go and I pull the frost guard off and I throw the snow off my car. And my windshield wipers are nice and clear, and I'm not worried about them being stuck or iced to my window. If you would forget your ice scraper or something happens and you still haven't gotten your kit ready, you don't have your emergency kit ready, some things you could use in a pinch. You could use A credit card, not one that you use all the time. I do not suggest using your bank card that you use for all your purchases. I'm talking like maybe a club card for a store that you got at one time and only ever used it that one time, or a credit card that's expired, something like that. So in a pinch, you could use a credit card, or a plastic spatula, not metal. No metal. Metal will scratch your windshield. So a plastic spatula. I don't know why you'd be somewhere you have a spatula but not have a scraper, but you never know. But a credit card, that would be really good in a pinch. And they were some of my tips. I would like to thank you again for joining me. Like I had mentioned before, if you have any questions or comments or concerns, please reach out to me on my social media, Traffic Safety Tara on Facebook and Tara's Traffic Safety on Instagram. Thank you for joining me this week, and stay safe on the road this winter.